and he built his own lasers.
Here they come, yo. Here they come. Here they come.
This or that. This or that. This or that.
Yeah, come on. Who's the black sheep? What's the black sheep? Know not who I am or when I'm coming, so you sleep. Wasn't in my realm or wasn't in your sphere. Knew not who I was, but listen here. The choice is yours.
You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. I think you get with this, cause this is kind of fat.
Come on. Where's the black sheep? Here's the black sheep. Even if we wanted to, the clock cannot be weak. Watch me swing like this. Why should I swing it like that? Because in fact, on me it might not attract.
With this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. I think you get with this, cause this is where it's at. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. I think you get with this, cause this is kind of fat.
Do, da, dippity. Come on.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. It's Black Sheep Rising, coming to you straight from where? Keene, New Hampshire, where we just experienced the second Keenevention 2014, thrown by our good friend Ian Freeman. Put a whole hell of a lot of work into it. It was great. We were all participants and viewers.
I've still got my name badge on.
Who? Oh, and I got my name back. Well, I'm sitting on it somewhere. Daryl W. Perry, of course, is here. Was doing the raffle tickets and was on a couple of the panels and all. Hey, Derrick J. Freeman is back with us. I think it's like the third or fourth.
Yeah, I think this is my third time on Black Sheep Rising. Thanks for having me,
Yeah,
Conan.
thanks for being on. I know it's really hard to get you on because you're doing so much. I mean, you got Fiends coming up pretty soon. You got your own news and
Yeah, fortunately, I took off Peace News today so that I could attend Social Sundays, which is really important to me, and it's probably one of the best times of the year.
It was a big one too.
Yeah, it was a good time to go.
And now you're even working with Robin Hood, doing, well, not Robin Hooding, but you're doing some thrift storing.
Yeah, tomorrow will be the grand opening of 101 Deals Thrift Store.
I had tomorrow off too. What time you guys opening? When are the doors open?
10 a.m. And I'll be there to greet you with my friendly smile, and I hope that you can find something you like.
Wow. Yeah. So I came by actually last week. I was doing some chores, and I'm like, you know what? I haven't been down to 101's deals yet. And I went down there, and sure enough, it's all boarded up. Well, not boarded up, but it's locked up. And I did get to look in the windows there and see what was going. Looks pretty snarly, pretty snazzy.
Yeah, Jay and James have made some terrific improvements on the store, and I'm really pleased with the way it's looking.
Wow. Yeah, I might pop on by. So yeah. Other than Keenevention, has anything else happened? We just been, I don't know, funning it up. We had a bonfire on Friday night over here, which was packed.
That I was able to show up for maybe like an hour
What'd you
or
think?
so.
That was the biggest one yet. Are you sure?
The fire or the number of people?
Actually, the fire was not the biggest fire yet. In fact, the fire was mild.
That's what I was going to say.
But
like it was a kind of small fire.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to scare off potentials. That they might not be ready. And actually, that might have been the way to do it, to get them in like Flynn. But yeah, I thought that maybe if the fire was what it has been, they might think we're a bunch of crazies, and we don't want to have anything to do with that.
They already think we're a bunch of crazies, but they like us anyway.
Well, that's good. Someone's got to like us. So you were able to show up to that one, and then you had all your art because you're just as busy as I don't know who's busier.
Daryl is. Daryl does more work than I do.
Wow. Because he went to your... All right, so then on Saturday there was another event thrown by Mr. Freeman over here.
Yeah.
A Halloween costume party, and of course...
Halloween.
Yeah, we called it Halloween.
I'm sorry. And of course Daryl is out in the waiting room writing an article. I don't know how much of the event you got to participate in.
I was there for about an hour, and then had to go to the LRN studio and record 2 newscasts before I went to bed.
Wow.
So I was still up until about 1 o'clock in the morning, but I was working most of the day.
I wish there was a what am I looking for? A float for the pictures where you can just hit the pictures and let them
Slideshow.
Yeah. I guess I could do that on my camera, but
Yeah,
look at this. Look at this guy right here.
There were some terrific costumes at
Fabbing
the
it up.
Halloween dance party. The idea was originally to have a costume party because we knew it would be around Halloween time. Wanted to give something for people to do in the evening times during Keenevention. That was one of the things that we realized last year.
As far as getting to meet us, it's the best time.
Yeah.
I mean, during the day you get to hear these guys on the panels. So the conversation is pretty one-sided. You get to hear everything, but you don't get to interact and get good feedback. But at these events, you can pick the brains all you want. And,
I agree, and it's more fun because people are feeling silly.
Yeah, it's fun for both. Yeah, I can imagine some of this stuff because I only was able to stay an hour. I can only imagine what was.
It got more debaucherous throughout the night, as these things tend to do. But it was innocent enough at the beginning, and you can see there are tons of pictures that you took, Conan. Thank you for being there and taking such high-quality photos.
I love to archive.
Well, I hope that somehow viewers of this program will be able to see some of the pictures that you took during this.
Well, I guess if they go, is the Halloween Facebook page open to the public?
Yeah, and you know what we did after the success of this Halloween is we created a Halloween Facebook page, which is like a page you can go and like, because we're going to have this every year. It's going to be an annual party, and it doesn't matter if it's on Halloween or not. It's going to be a costume party every time, and it's going to happen during Keenevention.
Yeah, it's all about the spirit of it. I mean, it doesn't really matter what day it's on. People will. When they walk through the doors, they'll have their Halloween faces on.
Yeah, there's also
regardless of what day it was, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever.
Yes.
And there was also a prize for best costume, correct?
Yeah, there were 3 prizes, actually, that were awarded to some activists who attended in costume. The top prize was a man who was dressed as Judge Burke. That was Brett Fanat of the School Sucks podcast.
Somebody had told me that James
Project.
had won. And so when I asked James, he was like, nobody told me.
So James won grand prize, but unfortunately...
Wait, so there's first prize is different than grand prize?
Well, so the problem is James clearly had the best costume. He was Robin Hood. It was...
Yeah, I got him up on the screen right now.
Looks like he even sunk some money into his costume, so it was very good. Unfortunately, top prize was a gift certificate to 101 Deals, which he himself donated. He couldn't possibly win his own gift, so we gave it to Brett for dressing as Judge Burke.
Oh, crap. I guess that's what you get when... The late arrivals, man. If you want to get a Conan picture, you want to be in the album, you got to show up on time, man. You can't.
Hold on.
He took some of his own photos that were very good.
You can't be rolling in an hour late. Come on.
However,
Libertarian Standard Time, man.
There he is. I see it. Wow.
Yep. So Judge Burke was there boogieing down with me. It was pretty cool to, I had a dance party in Keene before, and some people know that I was arrested at that dance party, and it sort of soured my experience. But Judge Burke found me guilty, and it was really weird to be on the dance floor with someone dressed as Judge Burke.
Yeah, there's a couple of individuals here that I never that weren't around when I was marching on through.
Yeah,
of course I didn't get the
Stephanie Murphy
I didn't get
and
the
Brian
pork therapy and Stallion, the golden Stallion there with his.
And he was
on the holodeck, nonetheless.
Star Trekking it up.
It was pretty cool, too, because of the 3 people who dressed as Trekkies, they all dressed as different characters. So I don't think
there was a third Trekkie?
Yes. Aaron was dressed as Spock.
Use the Schwartz, Lone Star. Use the Schwartz.
That's definitely Spaceballs.
Wrong show, right?
No. But it was a good time. The lasers were a big hit. Bill Domenico, actually, he's one of the activists in Manchester, very technically savvy, and he built his own lasers.
We have the technology.
He also built his own 3D printers.
Yeah, this is true, and some people are just that talented. You put your talents to work in some ways. Sometimes it's for fun.
Get those nerds!
But sometimes it's for activism. He had some lasers that were streaming police ahead, and this one police guy blowing a whistle and waving people along. It was really cool to be able to see some of those things.
There was I don't even remember what I think it was during the fireworks. They were throwing up their lasers on the wall, and they were having all kinds of folks coming out saying, you know what, this is not the time to be talking about secession and what those types of arguments during the 4th of July when we should be celebrating secession or something like that. But I mean, it's some of the arguments were yeah, exactly, hot dogs, hamburgers, and drinking a beer and taking that day off from work. But yeah, some of the arguments. It boggles my mind that people...
Didn't you know that the 4th of July is the day that Jesus handed Abraham Lincoln the Declaration of Independence from Mount Vernon, written on 2 solid stones?
Enlighten me.
And then George Washington chopped down a cherry tree. That's why we call him Honest Abe.
Wow. I want to see that poll. It might have just been like a Comedy Central thing where they were walking around asking people on the streets, you know, who did we secede from? And like a third of the audience couldn't tell you.
There have actually been scientific studies like that from Ipsos and Gallup.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a bunch of people that say like China and France.
Canada or some crap.
I think there's a small percentage that does say Canada.
That can't be serious. There can't be people who think that the U.S. seceded from China.
I think it might have been the Stossel show that I watched that had that.
It seems like some clever editing or something. There's no way.
Yeah, you can't.
No, I've seen like
these polls are
scientific polls.
just as entertaining as they are. I don't know. They're fun to look at, read, and think.
I'm skeptical.
Well, this is all right. So, hit, was it a hit? Is this something you want? Is this something you want to do next year?
Keenevention or Hollow Keen?
Well, both.
Both were a hit. Keenevention exceeded my expectations again.
Was
Last
Hallow
year was
Keen
the first one.
Was Hallow Keen a profitable sub-event?
Yeah, it was. Not terribly profitable. We made all of our money back for food. We made a little bit of extra money for Ross. Of course, I'm going to give all the money to Ross's family. But just thinking about the costs that went into it, we did have to pay for food. We had to pay for the space. We made all that money back and then some.
Wow.
And so it's going to be nice to be able to give Lynn Ulbricht, the mother of Ross Ulbricht, freeross.org for more info, to be able to give her over $500 cash. I don't think we're going to give her... I don't know if it's going to be... Like, we'll ask her what she prefers, cash or Bitcoin, obviously. It would be nice and easy to send her Bitcoin, but she may prefer the cash. So it was nice to be able to have a fundraiser. For those who aren't familiar with Ross Ulbricht, he is the alleged operator of the black market website Silk Road, where people were transacting in Bitcoin for things like...
Peacefully.
Yeah, of course. They were transacting peacefully, making negotiations between consenting adults to trade things like Bitcoin for, say, marijuana.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
I wanted to support that because I like drugs. I like the underground market, and for
and
you
believe it or not, you know what you're getting.
Yeah,
because you have a whole community of people who are just like Amazon or eBay. You're getting ratings. There's a whole rating scheme set up so that if some clown gets on there and starts filling things with aspirin, ground up aspirin or something, then you're going to get
a bad rating.
You're going to get found out real quick, and you're going to lose you lose your platform that you're on.
Unless you're selling the ground up aspirin as ground up aspirin.
No, that's always an option, I guess.
Right. Yeah, but buyer beware with everything.
Mm-hmm.
I like to party, and recreational drugs, have been prohibited for so long that it can be difficult to find some of those things that people would want to use safely, responsibly to enhance their good time. And the Silk Road was a good place for that.
And why is it fair that
the
the only people who get to experience that are the people who drink alcohol? It's like they're like,
well, yeah, and I don't even think they really experience it in the same way that some other drugs could. I think alcohol numbs an experience in a lot of ways too.
And there's probably a lot of those folks who indulge in alcohol that would be much better off experimenting with some other drugs that just are better for them in the long run. Some people just can't handle it, but that's the only thing that's available. There are no other options if you want to do it legally.
Unless you're in Colorado or Washington.
Which is another, and by the way, we were talking about secession this morning, and I forgot to mention that. I have lots of buddies who moved to Colorado. I was upset that New Hampshire wasn't on that wagon, because we could have got so many more here in this state if we had gotten on that wagon sooner. And I hope it's not many more years down the road before New Hampshire legislation comes to its senses.
Well, a fun fact about recreational drugs and alcohol is that the founder of Alcoholics Anonymous tried mushrooms and recommended it to all AA groups, saying that this
Wow.
should be part of the process for curing someone of alcoholism.
We should get him to try DMT next. Maybe he'll be recommending it.
He's
Unfortunately, he's no longer with us,
Oh.
but this is something for people to look into if say, recreational drugs are bad and people like Ross Ulbricht should be away in jail for a long time. Well, just consider that the founder of Alcoholics Anonymous actually recommended this as therapy.
I don't have a drugs is bad drop. I need
Well-
that one. Drugs is bad.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you asked me, was it a hit? Well, yeah, it totally was. There weren't as many people out on the dance floor as I would have hoped, which, what are you going to expect? Libertarians and a bunch of squares, people too afraid to get out there. They're not too afraid to do things like, disobey the authorities or stop paying taxes.
No,
but
well,
they're too
what I
afraid
found-
to boogie down.
No, what I found during the time that I was there, most of the people were standing around having conversations with one another, and you're not really going to be able to have a good conversation while you're dancing.
You know what? You're 100% right, Daryl. There were a lot of people conversing, chatting, eating, drinking. They were doing a lot of stuff and enjoying the music. They were there. They could have been anywhere. They could have had those conversations anywhere. They chose to be in the party. So what if they weren't dancing? I had a good time dancing.
You definitely. I see. I have the pictures to prove it. Oh, so anyway,
Yeah.
if you go to the Hollow Keen Facebook page,
Yep.
those pictures are being updated as we speak.
Excellent.
I put mine up this afternoon. If you want to see some libertarians, anarchists, and voluntarists boogieing down, well, some of them were anyways.
Yeah.
And just having a good ass time.
Everyone did for a little bit. It always picks up towards the end, and then boom, music's off. So
Yeah, that's
we'll
weird.
have to pick it up again next year. The only thing that could improve it, if I could think about ways to improve it, is to pre-plan an after party. Because a lot of times people are like, "Oh, the music's over. I was just getting started. Where do I go now?" And the suggestion was like,
and then they're not going to make the 9 o'clock panel that Daryl and Conan are on talking about secession.
they will if they're hardcore enough. But we want. I want to give them something to do after the
They were
party.
seceding from the secession
Yeah,
panel.
exactly. By the way, that was by the way, that auditorium did fill up with pretty much everyone.
The same thing happened
It just took-
Friday morning, where it began, with a handful of people and finished with, maybe 24.
That could be. I was worried about that on Friday night. After the bonfire. I didn't go to sleep till like 4. There's no way I could have made a 9 o'clock.
How many people made that movie premiere that wound up being a 3-minute video?
What?
I would say-
Did Bo drop the?
I would say that probably 20 to 25 people attended.
Okay, so about the same as what were at the panels.
Yeah,
The
I would
9
say
o'clock
it was
panels.
about the same.
Okay.
It was really cool to be able to watch Victimless Crime Spree in the theater. I know we had seen it before in the same theater. It was also really cool to
But
see
it's got
Bo's
you
movie.
in it.
Yeah,
But
it is pretty weird to see myself up
to
on a
give
big screen.
perspective to people that are watching and they're like, there were only 25 people. How are you saying that was a good turnout?
Oh, that's a lot.
There were like 35 people that bought tickets to the event before the event began, and then there were maybe like 30 or 40 speakers, and then there were people that bought like day passes.
And everything's been recorded, so everyone is going to have the option.
Well, the 25 people, that's pretty much everybody that bought a ticket, with a few exceptions. But the people that bought tickets were there, and some of the people that got free admission because they were on a panel were there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good turnout when you consider how many tickets there actually were that were sold.
I thought it was pretty good to have people waking up at 9 a.m. on a Saturday to go watch a movie. I mean, that's pretty amazing. And they did. Unfortunately, it did end up only being 3 minutes of what will eventually be a 50 to 60-minute film. But for what it's worth, that 3 minutes killed it. It was awesome. You can tell that this is going to be a high-quality production.
Wow, and that's what we really need.
It's another Bo Davis film, and you know the effort and work that he put into making Victimless Crime Spree look as professional as it does. Maybe I'm biased, but I feel like that movie visually could stand up to some of the Hollywood flicks.
Wow.
And it's very good. So I'm looking forward. The website is 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com is the website.
And I think we're all in it, all three of us, and
Yes.
and a bunch more. Folks that folks that aren't in Keene, they're in Manchester and Sorens and Lebanon.
People that aren't even in New Hampshire yet.
I wouldn't speak too soon, Conan, because a lot has made the cutting room floor as the movie has been shortened from a feature to a film fest length
which is
movie.
Less than an hour?
It was going to be 90 minutes, and they're shrinking it to about 50 to 60 minutes. So they've got 3 minutes finished, totally finished, and then the rest is like 90% done. They've got a couple more things to film, but the deadline is November 10th, so 11/10/2014. Should be just a week.
Well, I'll be looking forward to it.
So let me ask this question, and I'll give my own answer as well. Which panel did you think was the best, and which panel did you think was lacking a little bit?
The New Movers panel was the best.
Chris Reitman, Josie Wales, Steve. Who else was on the New Movers? Some of the new
Joel.
some Manchesterites.
Joel Valenzuela and Shire Dude were the other two. And the reason I say it was the best panel is because New Movers come in waves.
Right.
And it adds layers of history to the Free State Project and what's been happening here. And to get the perspective from the New Movers is like the most honest look in the mirror that a person could get. There's a lot of biases that become reinforced once you live here. You know, I might know you, Conan, but if I was someone who just met you, I might have a different perception about you. Mm-hmm. So the same goes for all of this. And they were able to be really honest about some of the things that were lacking, that they expected when they got here, lessons learned.
And some of the things that inspired them.
Yeah, that was really valuable. So that's why I say it's the best. What do you think?
I would say that was really good. I'm kind of biased towards saying that the secession panel.
Yeah, that was also very good.
Because, that wound up going into what the soccer fans would call extra time.
Yeah. Nobody cared. I mean, people wanted it too.
Right. People wanted it to continue even after Ian was like, everybody get off the stage, because I said something that was kind of controversial, and I think people might have misunderstood what I was trying to say right there at the very end of it about new nations within the last 20 years needing help from the UN to gain international recognition. And Lauren Rumpler said, well, why do we need international recognition?
Yeah, why? Well, why ask permission for something that should be ours by right?
But the reason you need international recognition is so that if you wish to travel anywhere, that you don't need a passport from a country that you don't wish to belong to. You need international recognition so that you can do trade with people outside of your new country. You need international recognition to pretty much, be recognized as something other than an occupied territory of another country. And I was in no way endorsing the United Nations. I wish that the United Nations would just go away. And I also hope that, at some point in my lifetime that the U.S. government just completely collapses and the whole idea of, secession is a moot point, because we then automatically get secession because there's no more Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was my big point. I am biased too, but I only saw 2 panels, so Of course,
What were the two panels you saw?
The secession panel, which I was on, and I saw the direct action panel directly afterwards, which was very interesting, considering that two of the participants were not really aligned with us, the libertarians. They were more. I think they stand closer to the Occupy types, who maybe a little more socialist, a little more collectivist, and a little more anti-capitalist. So that's
the one that I would actually say was the one that was lacking.
It was like I said, it was a differing opinions that is outside of our bubble, and so you have to take it with a grain of salt and consider what's being said and disagree or agree with it, whatever you can. I don't know. Matthias, of course, was up there, and he's definitely a go-getter type who is, pro-capitalism, pro-liberty, and dismantling. And he was also on the secession panel.
Right.
So he's, very, very much against the state, the cancer that we just can't seem to get rid of. I liked the secession panel. I was a little scared because I am not as knowledgeable as Daryl and Sorens are. These are guys who write papers on this crap, and they know the numbers, and they know the stats, and they know the history. And I'm just this guy who, is sick and tired of it all and wants it all to go away. And I think probably Lauren was in the same boat as I. We were really, the two of us were really talking from our hearts. So I think I was just trying to play the funny guy. I think I did, find a couple of moments there to make the audience. I was talking to the layman.
You did. You had a couple of one-liners, and I can't think of any off the top of my head.
I was talking about smashing pumpkins and flipping cars.
Yeah,
Smashing pumpkins, flipping cars. You got to throw in the different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
You interjected a lot of comedy, but then I was looking to your face for some sort of cue that this was a joke, or were you being serious? Total deadpan. Like you didn't give anything away. It was very funny.
So, Derrick, what would you say was the one panel, or were there more than one panel that you saw that you thought could have been improved?
Oh, the direct action panel, because I would have liked to see more variety. Would have liked to see more preparation in the form of the questions that were asked. It seemed at some points that Garrett, who was the person hosting the direct action panel,
he started to run out of steam towards the end.
Not only did he run out of steam, but it was frustrating for me as an audience member to see so many people who had questions lined up as audience participation, but Garrett, because possibly his hair was in the way, and this is not an attack at him, but I really think his hair was in the way, that he couldn't see that there were people who wanted to ask him questions. One of them was his mother. Surely, if he saw his mother,
then
he would
she
say,
just
yes,
went and
go
sat
ahead.
down.
Yeah, she gave up. So, that was frustrating as an audience member, because not only were the questions sort of weak, it was going overtime as well. And I was
It also seemed as though
his questions were too complicated.
I was like, well, first of all, we should close this panel because we're out of time. We haven't yet taken audience questions, and you keep asking questions that are kind of just made up.
And
so
it seemed to me that it was
more prep to make that better, because it's a great topic. Direct action was the most popular panel last year.
It seemed as though it was too focused on the Occupy movement.
Yeah, on the other hand, it gave a good balance to a lot of the things that got talked about at Keenevention. It's great to get another perspective. I don't want to be an echo chamber. It's good to be inclusive. I know there are things that we can work together on with Occupy movement people, and their stories were very interesting and entertaining. So I don't want to knock it and say, I stayed for the whole thing.
Well, there was somebody from Occupy that was on the charities panel that did a very good job.
Yes.
Talking about, how that was organized, and, the direct action panel, I just think it could have been better.
By the way, Daryl, Nicholas agrees with you to some extent. The reason you get international recognition is because achieving freedom is a gradual process. People are irrational and superstitious, as you can't appeal to those irrationalities. So there's another, move in slowly types. Cantwell got up
And-
during the secession panel, and he was letting us have it with his, actually, I need to watch the video again because he had it all written down,
Well-
and he went a little too quickly for me to catch
Basically,
on some of it.
what I got from what Chris said, and I realize that this is a gross simplification and putting my own little twist into it. He was saying, and I'm using a metaphor here because I used the metaphor several times about leaving an abusive spouse. Because Jason Soren said, well, you just need to, invoke the 10th Amendment. And I said, it's a lot easier to divorce an abusive spouse than it is to convince that spouse to have an open marriage. And the point Chris was making was, but going to the court and filing papers for a divorce is using the aggression of the state against your abusive spouse.
Yeah, well,
Think about the children. So, he made a good point, but at the same time, I don't think that it was necessarily a valid point.
When are these videos coming out, Daryl? How quickly?
Ian should start getting the first one out in a couple of weeks, and then he'll do one a week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to all the ones that I missed, for real. So you say New Movers was a good one to.
Yeah, I found it inspiring. We've all been new movers at some point, and there is a time before you make the move that at least I'll speak for myself, I digested hundreds of Keen videos before coming here, and that would have been one.
And podcasts and everything. It was all the content that was coming out here.
That would have been one that I would have wanted to see. Hey, what do new movers think?
Exactly.
And I think they give the most honest look at what they've got to see. I think one of the cool things was Josie was saying, one of the things that I thought would be nice once I moved here is a porcupine or a Free Stater supermarket type business. And one of the other new movers was able to say, oh, Shire Co-op, we have that. And it was just cool because they're so fresh. And it's
The problem with Shire Co-op, and I love the idea behind Shire Co-op, but they only meet once a month. So
I see. I didn't realize.
It's not a permanent storefront.
Uh-huh.
It's sort of like a flea market thing that is run by porcupines that happens once a month.
Okay.
And what are they? Are they selling produce and knickknacks and the whole
Anything.
nine, or is it just anything?
This was my first exposure to the concept.
It's mostly produce stuff that you would find at a flea market or like the like the Keene flea market, where the farmers market type thing.
Yeah. Which I don't actually shop that much.
Yeah, it's more of farmers market than a flea market, but it only happens once a month. But it's still there, and there are people that like Mr. Conan over here. He has more eggs than he knows what to do with, but he doesn't necessarily have the time to set up a stand and say and advertise, "I have eggs." So it's one of those things where you sort of have to network and know the who and the where. And yeah, it would be nice if there was a website that people could go to. But trying to actually get that to happen, you're dealing with libertarians, and it's like herding cats. Like I tried setting up a website a couple years ago called the New Hampshire Agorist Connection, and getting people to submit a listing was damn near impossible. So I gave up on trying to do anything with it.
Opening on Monday, 101 Deals thrift store. I mean, we're getting close to that. Some guys are we talk and we theorize, and this is this and that, and we're doing it right now. And yeah, it really would be helpful in the long run if there was infrastructure already set up where people had jobs waiting for them. Maybe someone owns real estate and they've got a place for people to live and short time, long term.
Well, one of the things,
and those things just aren't here yet. So but they're coming, and you got entrepreneurs like James who's just tired of waiting. I think that we're all in that boat. It's like I'd like it to happen before I'm an old geezer, and my kids are dreaming the same dream, and it still hasn't happened yet.
Well, one of the things that was mentioned during the legislative panel was about trying to maybe repeal some of the restrictions on grocery stores or like little neighborhood markets. And one of the requirements in New Hampshire statute is if you run a grocery store, you must have a certain amount of milk available for sale. You have to have a certain amount of, various products. So if you sell, like if you only want to sell candy bars, then that's okay. But if you have candy bars and bread, then you also have to have milk and lunch meat.
Yeah, those seem like laws that were enacted first with the intention of protecting the consumer, but they had the result of inhibiting producers. That they end up hurting the people who want to serve more consumers.
It's similar with with some of these cage size laws where they I think they want to expand the size, and that's just going to hurt the farmers who know what's best for their livestock, for their chickens and their rabbits and stuff.
And there used to be a restriction in New Hampshire about the number of chickens that you could purchase. Used to be you had to purchase at least a dozen chicks.
Yeah, now it's 6.
Yeah, and so there was a state rep that went around asking people in his community, what are bills that should be introduced? What, are there laws that need to be passed? Are there laws that need to be repealed? And somebody said, I have to buy a dozen chickens. And he said, what are you talking about? Well, I wanted to buy 3 chickens, and I was told that I couldn't, that I had to buy a dozen, so I had to go find a couple other people, and then we went and collectively bought these 12 chickens and then picked out the ones that we wanted.
Well, that's silly.
And so he was like, that's ridiculous.
Nonsense.
Yeah, I didn't need 6 chickens. I only needed 3. 6 is a lot of damn chickens.
So maybe you need to contact the legislature
for one household
and tell them that, hey, you know what? I only need 3 chickens. State law mandates that I buy 6. Can you change the law?
Yeah, or just whenever I go down to Horse and Buggy to buy my new chickens, I just say, hey, look, come on, man. Just sell me 3 fucking chickens.
They're not going to do that.
Well, maybe they'll be a little rebellious and they realize.
Well, wait a minute, Daryl. You're suggesting going to the government for this solution when it apparently didn't work the first time. To buy a dozen eggs doesn't make any sense. The solution is to say no restriction on the amount of chickens that a person has to buy.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
well,
wait a minute.
They got it down to 6.
They already had a chance to do that, and they chose a new number.
Probably
6.
because whoever introduced the bill didn't introduce it as eliminate the number.
Well, why not? I mean, isn't that obvious? Isn't that the obvious solution?
No, that's not obvious.
But I don't mean to be insulting or anything.
You're talking about people that think that governments are supposed to regulate things. They're not going to say, oh, maybe we shouldn't regulate how many chickens somebody can buy.
I think at the end of the day, because I do a lot of the same. I do a lot of
the point that I was making,
working through legislation, running for office, doing all that. I mean, this is at the end of the day. I don't feel really good doing any of that. I just want to just buy three chickens. I don't
right.
I don't want to spend. I don't want to spend all this time and energy trying to convince some idiots on the other side of the New Hampshire who don't live the same way that I do.
If you go to Horse and Buggy and try to convince them to sell you only 3 chickens, they're going to be convinced that you're an undercover cop trying to cause them to lose their license of selling chickens.
And I understand, and that's why I would call up someone who I know in legislation, and I would say, hey, look, we need to introduce this new bill. But in reality, that's exactly what I do. I'm going to go down to Horse and Buggy and say, hey, look, this is silly. I know that it's silly. You know that it's silly. Just sell me 3 chickens and let's be done with it.
I tried to buy a bottle of wine at midnight one night and was told I can't buy it until 6 in the morning because state law says I can't buy it after 11:45. And I said, can't we just pretend it's 11:45? And he said, no, because we will then lose our license to sell any alcohol.
No, you're absolutely right. The whole fact of the matter is, They don't know who you are,
Right.
and they think that you are out to get them in the end. Which,
Right.
which at the end of the day, that's the saddest thing. These people have so much time on their hands, and there's so fucking many of them that they can go around and have stings. The liquor enforcer was at the McHugh's. I'm pretty sure that was their vehicle when I pulled up this evening, just looking for underage peoples, looking for bartenders who are selling the wrong amount of something, or I don't know what the rules they had what the fire hoops they had to jump through, but it's ridiculous.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was at Waxy's a week or two ago, visiting a friend, and the bartender checked my ID. I always have a hard time with that. I know it's supposed to be
you're a young looking character.
Thank you, but I know it's supposed to be a compliment. I get insulted because
Because you're tired of it.
well,
You get insulted. I fucking get insulted.
They don't card me anymore.
it's not that I get insulted about the age thing. It's that I get insulted that the person asking me for my ID apparently thinks I'm a government agent who's trying to bust them. And
You're a young, clean-looking guy, so there you go. You don't you're well-dressed, well-mannered,
that's insulting
clean.
to me when they presume that I'm someone who's trying to do them harm.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't be insulted, but I would be saddened that
It's like
you're getting pulled into that group.
well, it's like
people you don't respect, you don't have any respect for, and it's that I can see where you're coming from.
in some cultures you bow, and apparently, so you take your eyes off the person, you prove you don't have a weapon, that you don't intend to do them any harm
Right.
and stuff. I would like to live in a polite society where we respect each other and we presume the best about each other. And when I walk into an establishment, most places I'm greeted, hello, hi, can I help you with anything? But in places that
They're
serve
street harassing you.
yeah. In places that serve alcohol, I'm always ID.
Yeah.
And
So prove
the presumption
prove
is,
it innocent before you actually,
well, the presumption is, hey, prove to me you're not some agent trying to ruin this establishment.
Wow.
To every customer who walks in, why do you want to greet them that way? I mean, it's insulting. That's how I see it. And people think it's an age thing. Oh, it's not a big deal. Or they think it's an inconvenience. Like, why do you complain? It takes 2 seconds. That's not it. It's
and at the end of the day, Derek, they're just watching their butts.
I know
It's-
they
it's-
are.
it's
I know
not-
it's not
it's-
personal. So what I try and do to remedy this is make a personal connection about the ID. When it happens, I say, "How old do you think I am?" And try and be polite and friendly and show we're on the same team. Once they see my ID, they know I'm no longer an agent. And the next time, maybe they'll be more friendly and just say hello. Come on in.
Papers, please.
Hopefully not.
One day, maybe. Hopefully not. Hopefully
One day,
not.
maybe. That day's today.
Well, I'm talking serious. You get shot. You're that guy running in the crowd, and they shoot you down because
That has happened within the past 2 weeks. Did you see the
Where
man
you were
in
the guy
South
running?
Carolina
Wow,
who,
no.
who he was pulled over? He had turned into a gas station. Hopefully, you can pull this video up. He pulled into a gas station, and she was black. The cop says, "Show me your ID." The guy says, I don't even think he speaks. He reaches into his truck to go grab his ID because,
Oh
obviously
yeah, and
he's
the
out of
guy
his
got
car.
pulled over for a seatbelt violation.
Yeah, it was a
and the
seatbelt
cop
violation.
unloaded his clip on him.
Yeah, and the police officer shot at
magazine
him from
or whatever
probably-
the fuck it was.
Correct. It's a magazine.
this wasn't the
It was-
young black guy who got shot in the back.
Yeah, it was a young black guy. He was shot, but in the leg, not in the back. He's okay. As okay as a person could be after a situation like this. This is the video that you
About a month and a half ago.
All right, so this is a 3-minute video, and when does the action happen? We just talk about it. So, seatbelt violation.
So this is, first of all, something that could never happen in New Hampshire because there are no seatbelt laws. So you wouldn't be pulled over for not
No
wearing a
seatbelt laws
seatbelt.
for adults over 18.
Yeah.
This is an adult over 18.
Right.
So what we're seeing now is the dash cam of the police cruiser. You can tell he's not in any sort of high pressure, intense situation. And see
middle,
if you
middle
can
of the
spot.
day. It's not an urban area. It's just a gas station
So
parking
here's
lot.
the gentleman. Get your ID. He goes in to grab it, and he gets shot.
No. Oh, fuck.
He put his hands up, then got shot again.
Oh, wow.
You said get my license, he says.
All right, did he survive this?
Yes, he did survive.
Wow, he got shot in the back and in the front, right in the chest.
Well,
Holy
his
crap.
leg apparently is what took the hit. And, you know, so you say, oh, one day it might be papers, please, and if you don't show it, you'll be shot. Well, hey, this happened a couple weeks ago. This man was shot for not having his ID right in his hand when the police officer wanted it.
And when he was asked to get it, and he went
to get it, and he was shot.
Yeah, he looked like,
And then the cop put in his police report, I thought he was grabbing for a gun.
Oh, of course.
wow.
So that's the end of the video. That's interesting. You know, you can't hear the sound very well, but at one point he apologizes to the police officer,
Wow.
which is what really just
that's
sticks
just
in my
like when
side.
you get a ticket and you get your fine, and you're like, thank you, officer, and
He says, "I'm sorry."
wow, that is so upsetting.
And that you see this in court all the time, where people get fined, and the cop's like, or the judge says, "You need to pay us, $372. You can pay at the window." Okay, thank you, judge. The fuck are you thanking the extorter for?
Hey, people kiss the ring too in the mafia. We
Yeah.
got a question from the chat. Joe asks, "How old is Derrick J?" A lady never tells. But I'm 25.
oh, well, there you go.
Oh, I was going to make a joke about if we cut you apart and count the rings, then it's kind of like a tree.
Well, that's kind of
That's what I heard, that gay guys are like trees. If you cut them in half, then
What? I never
you count
heard
the
that.
rings.
Okay.
Where did you?
I've got 2 rings.
well, that
So
was,
I noticed, Mr. Conan, that you
I-
forgot to start the timers.
and instead of setting them and starting them so the times would be all wonky, I'm just watching the damn
Yeah.
time down there. So you ready to do?
So
a little-
it's about that time.
is it for real?
We're at 55.
What did you learn?
Conan Soliday. What did you learn?
I totally did not even prep
From what did you learn from what? From this episode?
from this
or
week.
Well, it originally started, what did you learn during the show?
That's what I thought.
And Conan was like, that's not enough time.
All right, here's
I need to have like an entire week to prepare for this question.
I know. I did learn something, and it's kind of important too. And maybe my dad is here visiting. By the way, he's in the next room.
yeah, I met him. He's nice.
Bought a hybrid in Connecticut. I flew in, bought a hybrid, drove it over here. He's gonna hang out for the week. We're gonna do some fixing up and stuff, some projects that have been that I've been holding off on. But no, he. So I've been did the bonfire pics. Yeah, I was going through 250 of them. I was cropping them and making them look spoofy. And I found out, and I kind of knew this about myself, but he was talking from his standpoint, which is not, total voluntarist, the total voluntarist standpoint. And we're having a conversation back and forth. A lot of it was about secession, actually, which was kind of nice because I'm talking about it the next day. But trying to have that deep conversation and defend my ideals, and while at the same time suffering a hangover and editing a lot of pictures, and having a horrible pain in my neck from the fall 3 weeks ago off the chicken coop, really turned me into a little bit of a monster. And we had a little yelling spat there. And wow, Dad, I'm sorry, I love you, dude. I learned that this week. So
Aw.
there you go.
Derek, what did you learn?
Gosh, it's not a thing that you can say like, oh, I learned how to change a light bulb in my car or whatever, but it's, I was really afraid of putting on the dance party. I had never done anything like that before.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't
Well,
know
you
how
tried
it was
to
gonna
in
go.
Central Square and wound up getting pepper spray.
You got a
Right.
face full of mace, son.
Yeah, so I had a really hard experience with that, and so what I would say is I learned about how to put on a party like
Oh,
that
wow.
with all of those people, and it's going to be even better next year. So that fear is now gone.
Good.
And
It's just like going on. Like I tell anyone
Yeah.
who has never been live on camera talking into a microphone, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And I mean, before you know it, the butterflies. It's like they're not there anymore. They don't exist. you almost come on feeling you feel it actually starts to turn into a little bit of a high, where you look forward to it and want more of it and can't get enough of it. So I mean,
yeah, I don't know if it's if I would call it a high, but I do get what I call addicted to the behavior of obeying the tiny tyrant within, as Gandhi put it.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, Gandhi said something to the effect of, "The only tyrant I obey is the small silent one within."
I like that, because I mean, we one of the big things that we have is a lot of the flack that I get from that guy I was talking about just now. The whole thing about rule followers, and that you can't have people who don't follow rules, because then there's just chaos and everything falls apart. And I like to tell you.
Well,
I'm an anarchist. That doesn't mean that I don't agree with rules.
Yes.
Otherwise, how the hell would I have been at my last job for 6 years and the one before that for 5? I don't have a problem with following rules.
Yes, the observant person will recognize that when there are rulers, there are no rules.
True enough.
They make rules, and then, guess what? We get to break them. You have all of these protections.
And make up new ones on the fly.
Sure. Well, there are all these sorts of protections in the laws, and then you go to court and you realize, that stuff doesn't apply to you. It's just made up words for the government people.
Right,
Things that are crimes for us are not crimes for them.
And now, having said that, there are acquaintances of ours who have a hard time following everyone's rules, and
like anti-establishment people.
Yeah, exactly.
Even rules on private property, and we experienced that at the party last night.
What do you mean?
Where the manager of the hotel had to come tell me that there were people that had open containers in the hallway, and that could possibly cost them their liquor license.
Yeah.
There you go. There it is again.
She tried to tell the people
not being evicted because they're being unruly and they're throwing things and they're breaking pumpkins and flipping cars, but because they can lose their liquor license.
Glass in the
she
wrong
tried to
area.
tell them, you can't be in this area with the open container, and they were incredibly rude to her.
I'm sorry that happened. I can't.
Yeah.
Well, one thing before I get into you, Daryl, we got to go. Those guys that have problems following the rules, they never do have a problem following their internal rulings. The internal rules that they live their lives by. Because I mean, there's some pretty smart dudes that we hang with, and the anti-authority types, but they still follow the rules to some extent. And I wasn't aware Gandhi had said that, because that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
But,
so what I had learned, and I do have a 10-second version of Derrick J's Victimless Crime Spree that I want to premiere on the show tonight.
Oh, wow.
And before I do that, I want to say what I learned. I learned, not obviously from firsthand experience, but someone had told me that a female had a hormone patch, and she was at your bonfire, and apparently she was standing kind of close to the bonfire, and hormone patches, didn't melt.
It dispenses more hormones.
They're heat activated, and it dispensed all of the hormones.
Wow.
And so she had...
this is for suppressing the...
It's like
eggs?
A birth control sort of...
The eggs don't drop or something?
Something. I don't know how it works, but it's a hormone patch that's supposed to be like a birth control something. She got an estrogen overdose and...
Holy crap.
Called the doctor, and the doctor was like, yeah, it'll probably take you like 2 or 3 days to level out.
Holy crap. So am I playing this thing?
Yeah, now you can play this.
That's wild. How did the doctor know... that was the case, that's what really happened?
Because she was telling the doctor.
Huh. Okay, well, this is not opening this is Windows Media Player. I wanted to open it in this window instead of the usual. This is...
Hi, I'm Derrick J.
Hello. No! Oh my God!
Why is your player not showing video?
I don't know. All right, let's go ahead and open this in VLC, because that's...
Yeah. Because there is video with this.
Yeah, actually, it's... What kind of file is it? It's an
MPEG.
It's an MPEG, okay. Okay, let's do this right. open with VLC. Which
How
is
long
way, which
did
is
it take
way
you
over
to
here.
make this, Daryl?
I'm Derrick J.
Hello.
Oh my God! Unbelievable! Unfucking believable!
I don't know. It didn't take but maybe like 20 minutes.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
After I was able to get the program to not crash after I did all of the editing the first time.
That's really funny.
That was funny.
Yeah, so that's the 10-second version of Derrick J's Victimless Crime Spree. And I think it pretty much sums it up to where you arrive in New Hampshire and you're, hello, and then the cops are like, no, and then they pepper spray you and throw you in a car, and then they walk
I
away.
love Rapture in that scene, man.
He's true and from the heart, man, every time.
Oh, crap. Hey, guys, you've been watching Black Sheep Rising. We are here every Sunday doing this show for an hour, sometimes more. Sometimes we have after shows, sometimes whatever. Sometimes, and you never know what we're going to talk about. So sometimes you got to look at the show notes. I don't know what the show notes are like.
Somebody named Nancy says to tell Shauna and Dad Soliday hi.
Oh, that's someone I'm related to. How you like that?
Is that your sister? Is that the cute sister you were telling me about that one
it's
time?
what? Why would I say that? That's my mom. Hey, Mom. Oh, crap. Hey, if you want to see the archives, all the videos, we're on 77 now. So there are, right now, this moment, there are 76 videos out there. You can watch them all.
77, actually.
Go to blacksheeprising.org. You get the audio there as well, and the show notes to every one of the shows. If you want to donate to the show, you got some links there, PayPal and Bitcoin. Thank you so much. Last week I got a couple little bitty donations, but you know what? I love you, and I wanted to bring them up because they had some wicked crazy emails.
Huh.
I don't know. It looked like they were able to actually manipulate their email addresses, and they were something like "Get More Daryl On" or something at. Let's do a short after show. Okay, we'll find that. Please visit the Facebook page. I personally prefer that outlet because I can do back and forth chats, interacting with the folks, the members. I know some of the viewers don't have Facebooks, so hey, that's your thing. But it's all at blacksheeprising.org. Daryl, people, we're gonna get you.
FPP.cc, FPPradio.com.
Outstanding, Mr. Derrick. You got so many projects, but you've nailed it in one spot, right?
Yeah, I've united all my projects under one banner, and that's the website derrickj.me. That stands for Derrick J Media. All the media that I produce is at derrickj.me.
Outstanding. And if you, of course, you're not, you're listening to this on probably Wednesday or Thursday, but every Sunday you do a Freedom Fiends episode.
Yeah, and that has quickly become my favorite project. So please check it out.
It's technically every Monday morning.
You're correct. FreedomFiends.com.
Eastern time.
Yeah, exactly.
FreedomFiends.com.
Which you're going to in a second, and I don't know how the hell you're doing it. You've been working all day. You'll be tired out of your mind.
Red Bull.
No, I don't really do the caffeine thing. I just love it.
Red Bull.
Outstanding. Guys, we're going to close on this little song. It's by Band of Horses. It's called The Funeral. This is the Echoes remix. Definitely recommend it. Of course, the link will be in the show notes. Guys at home, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week at the same time. Oh, by the way, live streamers, chatters, thank you so much for participating. Love you. Love you all.
Live streamers,
Thanks,
stay
guys.
tuned. Short after show.
Take care, guys. Good night.
I'm coming up only to hold you under, and coming up only to show you wrong. To know me is hardly golden, is to know me, is to know me I'm wrong. They were.
show.
All right, let me say this. Let me just say this. Welcome back to the show, by the way. Let me do a little after show. I have never donated to myself. I know Shauna and Jay and everyone else has been ribbing me on it. I haven't donated, and I thank you so much to the folks who have, even just little increments. I mean, it's great. I mean, it really makes me. It makes it worth it because just the editing and just the compiling of this video,
right,
and putting it all together is at least a couple hours, and sometimes even longer. But I thought it was really curious. We got some very.
And since you had mentioned the donors, I just want to mention that for the things that I do have a few recurring donors, and I've got one large advertiser. Or not large, but, in relative means, like I've got one advertiser that basically pays for the printing of the paper.
The Koch brothers?
No, not the Koch brothers.
Not yet, anyways.
I'll go ahead and mention Roberts & Roberts Brokerage.
Maybe you can get that one supposedly libertarian Koch brother to start pitching in.
No, I will never accept Koch brother money, and here's why. It has nothing to do
because they own you.
It has nothing to do with the money. It has to do with the strings attached to that money.
Yeah.
And I don't want strings.
Well, what if you tell them straight up? Look, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, and I am never going to.
Then they're not going to give me money.
Represent your agenda. But if you want to back what I'm doing right now, I'll take your money. But just keep in mind, I will never back your agenda. Because when that happens, you can just go ahead and stop paying me.
Yeah.
You wouldn't take that?
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't even ask them for it. Just because, one, there's the strings, and then two, I don't think that they would agree to, give me money, no strings attached.
Yeah, I don't think they would either.
And three, if I did get their money, then there would be all kinds of conspiracies and rumors of, I'm part of their agenda or whatever.
Exactly. Well, yeah. So you just burned yourself. All right. So now,
what the point that I was going to make is I'm pretty much at the point of breaking even now to where I'm covering my web hosting cost, the cost of archive hosting, and the production of the paper.
Wow.
And so I'm breaking even with donations, and I know you're probably nowhere near breaking even.
I'm talking about Chinkles. There was a real hefty one a couple of months ago, but other than that, just little spending change, enough to buy myself a beer every now and then.
Right, and when I say breaking even, I'm just saying my out-of-pocket costs are being broke even. Yeah. I'm not making anything for the amount of time that I put into
Yeah, exactly.
what I'm doing. I know you're not making anywhere near the amount of time
but I'm also not spending a lot on I'm not spending anything on hosting. I'm not spending anything on the web page.
You've still got the $10 a year domain fee that you have to pay.
Correct. So you've got that to consider.
I still think you need to.
And by the way, I am working on a new web page.
Web hosting.
I'm learning Dreamweaver. I think I'm using Dreamweaver. I should be able to retain my WordPress page.
Good.
Go ahead and build my own because that web page is a little. I'm working with what I can. It's
right.
It's a theme, and there's some things you just cannot manipulate. You can't remove them from the page. So I'm having to mess around with things.
Okay, so tell me about these fake emails that you were curious how people came up with.
Here's my question. So you can, whenever you send a donation, you can actually leave any email that you want, or how does that work?
Well, you're talking specifically about Coinbase, which is the processor that you use for Bitcoin donations.
Yeah.
And you are requesting an email address from your people. You're not requesting a valid email address from people. You're just requesting an email address.
All right. Well, at first,
so the email address.
I thought this was an email last week because I got some Chinkles last week. I thought these email addresses were generated by Coinbase, kind of like Craigslist. You know how they generate that real long, crazy
Oh, right. It'll be like 375QRX.372
and you can email that
Craigslist.
person. You can email that person at that address, and it'll get to them, but you don't get their information. So
right, because Craigslist is using some anonymizing software.
Right. Well, I had thought that last week, seeing those emails, that's how it was working. And then I got some interesting emails this week, return address emails. This one, the customer's name is Have Cantwell On Again at chalkingisfun.com. And so you're telling me that's a fake email. That won't go anywhere.
I am 99.999% positive that that's a fake email. Try to open chalkingisfun.com and see if it goes anywhere.
Well, here's the thing. I actually submitted return emails to the ones last week, which seemed legit. And they weren't returned to me as faulty emails. So they might have actually gone somewhere.
They probably went somewhere, but probably not to the person that sent you. Or what were the emails from last week? Can you pull those up?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
And what was the other one from this week?
Oh, let's see.
Steak cutter at ConanHasAHugeDick.com.
That is the one. So someone is giving us both props. I guess you're the steak cutter and I'm the. Yeah. How do you like that? I can't.
I think they got us confused.
I can't. Yeah, right. I can't complain with that. That's all right in my book. All right. So where are we at? All right. Here's last week. The second one. Okay. So this is probably. No, that's not the right one. And by the way, I'm looking at all this on another screen, you guys on the live chat, because this is all my stuff, man. It's all my stuff. That seems more legit. But you see how I confused it with like a generated.
Right. So that's like SR something at GRR. Yeah. So that's probably one of those. You get like a Roadrunner email address.
And this one's at sharklasers.com. But the same thing. It's
Shark Lasers. That might actually be a website. I don't know.
Very curious. Well, hey, if do me a favor. Send me a note with the donation, or send me an email, and because I would really like to represent or to plug the contributors, because it really makes my day, and I want folks to know who are who the people who are actually contributing to the show.
So
I think you deserve that credit, and I would be more than happy to give you that.
I use Coinbase, so I know what the thing is, and most of the people that will send me stuff, they put an actual email address because they want to be part of my mailing list. Yeah. So I'll spend a few minutes with you after we shut off this recording.
Cool.
And I'll set you up with recurring payments so that if anybody does decide that they want to throw you, a couple of bucks every month, let's create something sort of like, I don't know, like the sheep pit or something.
The sheep pit.
To where, come up with a name for people that like the show.
Yeah.
And if you donate monthly, then we'll put a thank you, and you'll be part of like the sheep pit.
Yeah, actually, I want to start doing T-shirts. I put some together on a Zazzle T-shirt creator, and it looks sharp. Of course, I'm not paying.
Pull it up.
Of course, I'm not paying $20. Well, I showed them on the last show. I'm not paying $27.
I've not seen it.
I'm not paying $27 for a Zazzle T-shirt.
Yeah.
There's got to be other options out there, but that would be a great gift. For the folks out there who are contributing, and are not even, maybe they just want a T-shirt and they want to buy it straight out.
Right.
But I think that would be a great gift, and not to mention, this is going to take me more than 5 minutes to create. Hold on, talk while I'm doing this. What else is going on? What other panels? You saw the whole entire convention, right?
With the exception of the tech panel and the Sunday afternoon keynote, because immediately after the Bitcoin panel, I had to run back to the LRN studio to do a radio show. So today has been very busy for Daryl. Actually, all weekend has been very busy for Daryl. But, yeah, so if you missed any of Keenevention, it will all be up on YouTube. You can find all of it at Keenevention.info. Videos will start coming up in about a week or so. That being about a week or so after this gets
Yeah, I think someone
posted.
said probably look at about a week per video.
Right. Yeah, but the first one coming out, Ian might take a few days before he starts encoding the first video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I would suspect about a week after you upload this show is when the first video should come out.
All right, where's my? There you go. Select one image. Ooh, I went right to it. It's like I knew what I was looking for. All right, here is the. Come on, you can do this. Make it now? Is that what I want? Look at that, man. On a black T-shirt. What is that? How does that make you feel, Daryl?
Looks pretty good.
And you know what? I in my opinion, it's really kind of an all-purpose shirt. You don't even have to listen to the damn show. The whole concept of the black sheep. Doing what he does. Coming up out of his.
Let's see. What's the
coming
largest
up out of
size
coming right
that
up out
they
of the
do?
sheep pit, and rising up.
All right, they go all the way up to really, really, really big boy sizes.
And of course you pay for it too.
Right, because it costs them more material.
Yeah, exactly. 2X, you're already adding on 4. 6X, which I didn't even know was a number.
Yeah, I knew that was. I used to work with a guy that wore a 6X,
which is a whole $12 extra. So that's almost like a whole nother shirt. Which I guess
right.
That's what you get. So what do you think about that?
Looks good.
Just got to figure out how to get them good quality shirt, affordable. $6 shirts I don't think is going to happen.
Yeah.
I think Rapture, and I forgot to pick his mind again this afternoon, and because he did some shirts back in the day, maybe with Adamo and Pete and them. He might have some lead. Oh, and of course he is a shirt guy. He works in the he kind of works in the apparel industry.
Right.
As far as shipping that stuff all around.
Yeah. So we'll figure this shit out and let you guys know.
Hey guys, thank you for watching this very brief after show, listening to us talk about money and stuff. I know that it was probably most enjoyable. Of course, we'll see you again next week. Live streamers, thanks for being on, man. We'll see you next week. Good night.
Oh, look at Dale's dinosaur costume. It's so cute. James Robin Hood's Cleveland's good one too. Everyone has such good costumes.
What was the little green dinosaur from Barney?
Dale's costume?
No, what was the name?
Bebop.
Yeah. Was Dale supposed to be Bebop?
No.
The 28th level of show prep.